Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 33 of the D.M.C podcast with your hosts, myself, Adam Rigby, and the human tornado that is man, muscle, mind power, Mr. Cody Hunter, brother, kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. Thanks for the warm welcome, my bro. I'm coming at you live and raw today on a Sunday morning. Haven't had a shave, no fresh Friday fades like you'd see on a Friday normally. Straight in from a run, all sweaty and manky. And it's just the way it's going to be today because it doesn't matter. As long as you can't smell what the rock's got cooking, we're all good to go, mate.
Raw and unfiltered. Raw and unfiltered. I'm sure there's some sort of app where you can get smell-o-vision, but definitely we don't.
Yeah, mate, we don't want to go there, mate. You do not want to go there.
Oh.
No, bro, but yeah, beautiful day here in sunny Christchurch, but windy, but you know, just gearing up. Obviously, in our world right now, we've got about 20 days to get our asses out of this house and up to Auckland. So we're just preparing a bit of gardening work, things to clean up, things to throw out. So it's been, yeah, it's a good little weekend.
And regardless, bro, you will move regardless. So 20 days, regardless of levels.
We are out. Yep.
You have to go. Okay, you're moving forward.
We go.
So relocation.
Yeah. No matter
inevitable.
What, we've got to go. We got to go.
We'll be all in by then, right? We'll be all in. 3 weeks, mate. We should be back to level -2
something,
where everybody's nude in the streets.
I was just going to say the same thing, bro. I was going to say the same thing.
Everybody is
exactly
nude,
right.
hugging and high-fiving in the streets.
It just goes the full extreme, mate. The full extreme. Back to the 70s, mate. Back to like Woodstock vibes.
Oh, if only. If only. When, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, people weren't worried about vaccinations then, were they? There was a whole lot of other stuff going around.
Mate, it was just do whatever.
No one was questioning the ingredients back then, peeps. I will give you the tip.
Mate, most of the time it was probably just one. That was the reason. One of the majorities would have just been one. And then, but then there was obviously a few others that I don't even know how many would be in those, mate.
Straight from the source, the mother of invention. Before all the editors took a hold.
And
it was,
yes, bro. So how are you feeling today, mate? What's been? Let's review the week, bro. We caught up last week. We caught up, mate. How crazy is that?
Massive catch-ups. Yeah, it's always cool, eh? Because obviously you and I chat a lot, but to be face-to-face and sit down and get some fuel on board and have some decent chats and see how you're going and do the old handshake and hugs, mate, is always special. So I love those moments and abilities just to properly connect 100%. And you know, it just reaffirms the bond that we have and the connection, and you know, you can talk on an even deeper level, eh?
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
So yeah, seeing you was great, mate. Great boost for the week, which has been crazy busy. Been driving all over the place, doing all sorts of stuff. Still training. Yep, still going, still charging. Birthday, my youngest daughter celebrated her 19th birthday, to which everybody in the house is recovering from her party, which was last night.
So good.
Myself included. I haven't looked at my sleep score yet, bro, but I tell you, I'll look at the Fitbit and it's not going to be good. It is not going to be good. Here's a guy that gets in bed before 10, probably, most nights.
Yeah, bro.
Needs me 8 hours. Even then, sometimes the sleep score is not good, but having to do a little bit of running around and obviously a little bit of tidying up, which is cool. It's only once a year, isn't it, a birthday? But good crowd of people around, between the ages of sort of 18 to 21, I guess, and just chill sexy vibes, mate. Just people just drinking, having fun, just good fun. So we set it up, first real road test for all the construction that's been going down in our backyard. Thankfully, no one ended up in the spa. There was caution tape everywhere, in true construction site fashion. But overwhelming success. And sitting down, you know, I knew majority of people there anyway, which is cool. And it's a lesson to stay connected to your kids and know their friends, because invariably it's quite freaky to see where they pick up their habits and their language from. Some of the things they do, because that's what we do, right? mimicking some of the good habits, some of the bad, and also meeting new people, sitting down and finding out what makes them tick, having chats with them, and seeing them converse too and sit down and have chats. So I angled it in a way where the seating plan meant that a couple of chairs would face. So people, if they wanted to chat, they would like, oh, let's sit over there. So the chairs would face. Ancient.
Nice, bro. I like
chat
that.
ninja technique. So there were little areas within areas. There was areas for kids. I call them kids, but they're adults now, to take selfies. Yeah, so it was a big night. I think I maybe got into bed about 2:30 at the end. Well, I got into bed earlier, but had to get up, do a little bit of a run, make sure some kids got home safe. Adults got home safe. I'd rather do that and deliver them door to door. So yeah, all in all,
100%.
Success. Here we are, a little bit of a clean up as you do, picking up bottles and stuff, a little bit of a hose down, cleaning the spa, getting it ready for this afternoon, and a little bit of a walk. And here we are.
Here we are, mate, and it's still pre-lunchtime. Mate, I've been having some late nights myself, and you and I, we talk about it a lot. I'm like you too, bro. I need my good sleeps. Otherwise, I'm falling asleep on the sofa at 3 p.m, which I haven't done for a very long time. But lately, we've been crawling into some good Netflix episodes. And the funny thing is here, and it's quite interesting. We started watching Squid Game. Have you seen Squid Game yet, bro?
Yeah, I started to watch it, and not to say I wasn't into it, but the time that I have to allocate to sitting down watching TV is way different to others in the household. So yeah, an hour of power for them, they might sit down, and I'm a pot around. I can't sit down for too long. So in the time that it takes me to get up and do something, I've missed 2 episodes.
Yeah, and you miss, especially if others are if watching it without you, they just leave you behind. It's a good one. So I watched all of that, and of course, being that it's a Korean show, mate, just so many like memories of essentially my home, because that's where we spent the majority of my adult life, right? So I'm watching it, and so then I watch another one, that's called Itaewon Class, which is actually set where we used to live. So every single bit of it is the bars we used to go to, the areas we used to walk in, and it's a good story. It's a bit of a drama, but mate, like, talk about homesickness. Holy shit, I was just like engulfed. So it was just quite funny. It was the same way I used to feel when you watch New Zealand episodes when you're over there. You know, the same feeling. You're like, oh man, this is crazy. Yeah. So anyway, it got me in it. So we've been watching a new show, and so I think we went to bed about midnight last night, mate, which is a very late night for us. Just watching the show and thinking like, man, I'm going to study Korean again. I'm going to get my shit together, and it's because I don't obviously watch dubbed. You've got to watch it in Korean with the subtitles. That's the secret.
Oh, of course, anyway. Of course. My daughter is a big anime fan, so she watches a lot of anime, but also there's a Korean series about a weightlifting fairy, which isn't as weird as it sounds, although it is quite a strange show, that we sat down and ended up watching a couple of episodes with. So it's a fully Korean subtitles, but just sitting and watching it, immersing yourself in a different culture. But it is funny when you see things. It's like rolling through a photo album when you see things that evoke a memory, and you think, that's right, and it does wake up a part of you. That's the blow the dust off. The photo or the video blows the dust off that part of the brain, and it wakes up and goes, remember this. And it may be cloudy, but it is funny, how the brain works, that sometimes it can throw together random things that you have a memory that actually was similar. It's similar to the way it actually happened, but there are a couple of things in it. There are a couple of things in it that the memory has recalled incorrectly or differently.
Mate,
but that's how the brain works. But I do love that. In reference to the series, I'm actually that annoying person that goes down and says, "Oh, so what happened to this person, and how come they're doing that?" And it's a little bit of revenge, for the fact that I missed out on 14 episodes by just going and potting around. So it's like, so what happened to? Well, weren't they? Didn't she? Was he? Are they? What? How come? Where's old mate?
And you go away on a business trip, and then your wife's my wife will watch like 3 of them while I'm away, and she won't even lie about it. She won't even be like, if I did that, I would just pretend I hadn't watched them and watch them again with her anyway to catch her up. But no, mate, you just have to miss out. You're just gone. You've missed you got to watch them by yourself now. I love it.
Yeah, and as I said, my youngest daughter is a massive anime fan, and I was saying, this is, it's out there, but she's going, it's all about triumph over adversity. It's about teamwork. It's about challenging yourself, all of these types of things.
Yeah.
There are heroes to aspire to look up to. I'm like, oh, okay, this is way deeper than I thought. Not taking the time to sit down and watch it, but each to their own. If you're passionate about something, have your favorite series. My wife is an avid Shortland Street fan. The episodes I have, I don't know how many thousands of episodes they're down now. They're seven or 8,000 episodes.
When did it first come out, bro? I remember the first. I still remember the first episode, though. Funnily enough, because it was such a huge deal to have our own New Zealand drama on TV. Remember that? It was like,
yes,
whoa, and you've got the handsome doctor, and then Rachel McKenna, I think, was the other lady in there, and
he's not in Guatemala now, Dr. Ropata.
yeah, that's right. And old mate's making out, Chris Warner, that's right. He's making out.
He's still there, mate.
The personal trainer.
Dr. Love. Dr. Love.
And he's making out
it's a little bit weird
in the cupboard.
It's a little bit weird. In real life, if I worked at a place that had that many hazards, shit happening, people dying, massive disasters, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but
I don't want to work there anymore. That's what happened with Dr. Ropata, bro. He was out of there. He's like,
he was like,
Guatemala.
Yeah, I'm out. He was definitely out. I look at that and go, mate, if that was real life, just imagine the stuff. And then the amount of crossbreeding that happens with those things, and people that are sleeping with people and then changing and zigging and zagging, I just can't keep up. I mean, if real life is like that, I'm missing out. I've missed the boat somewhere, and I'm quite happy that I have.
Someone's living that life, mate. Someone's got that much excitement.
Wow, it's a disco ball. It's a bloody disco ball. But apart from that, mate, it's obviously another big week in NZ. Still the contentious debate around COVID and freedoms and levels are easing slightly or have eased slightly. A lot of cases have given inch, take a mile. Some people have taken it to the 10th degree. And, the government needs to just stone up and really start to hammer home the importance of obeying some of those rules. But also, we need to get going, NZ. Kia ora whānau. Kia ora whānau. We're educated enough. I did have a big rant about vaccination a while back, a few episodes ago, and I just think it's, if you decide not to, then that's on you. And unfortunately, it will have impact. But we just need to get moving. We just need to get.
Yeah, that's right.
We just need to get back.
Got to get open, bro.
Globally, we were a leader. Now we're just running behind a little bit, possibly a lot, and accepting that there has to be casualties, which is unfortunate. But yeah, again, no right or wrong answer. We can go, and I think I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast today on my walk, actually, and we have discussed it before about propaganda, and we know that there are algorithms in the internet, and everything we do is monitored. And if you start to search for something, then you'll get the extreme views, and all that does is separate people and push them further apart. So you've got, if you're into anti-vaccine or if you're into vaccination, you're going to get pushed streams of the most extreme to the excess opinions, and that's going to continue to be pushed at you from the massive propaganda mill. And even to the sense where there's a lot of censorship that goes on. So yeah, just be careful what you read if you're unsure. The catchphrase is just do your homework, do the mahi, have a look at it. There is information available. You can find out what is globally happening with vaccinations. You can find out about the Pfizer vaccine, what's in it, results in terms of people that get it, hospitalization, all of those types of things are available. So do the mahi, make an informed decision, and if it's not for you, then that's just the way it's going to have to go. Hopefully we can get as much of NZ vaccinated, because it's not going to go away, peeps, but we need to band together and push and fight and live again.
Yeah, well, I do think, it's like you say, it's definitely an informed decision, and some people that obviously a majority of people have done no research on either side. It's not like one side. I would say watching stuff news and reading Facebook is not where you get your information from. it's
always,
like so one-sided. Just listen to the questions Jacinda gets asked in her press conferences. They are not real questions. They are not even, they're like her rehearsed questions. So I think you've got to be informed. And I think if you stand on one side really strongly, hopefully you would have looked into every ounce of research, because either way is dangerous, right? There's danger everywhere, and you've got to figure out which one's more dangerous for you, and you make your decision. And there's no, like you said, and there should not be any malice towards that, especially if you've made your decision to do something. You should be proud of that, but you shouldn't hate others for not doing what you did, which is what people are doing in New Zealand.
We can't help
when it actually doesn't affect, and which is weird, because it doesn't affect you. If you've made the decision and you're protected, what others do shouldn't drive hate. And that's why the whole Jacinda's whole speech of be kind at the end, I think she's so fake, because she's not pushing kindness. She's pushing people to segregate and be angry and bully each other into things, because the government can't force it. So she's putting it on the people to enforce it, which essentially is just creating a massive divide, which is ugly, bro. That's not the way that needs to happen. And you and I talked about it, like just clear communication. If you say everyone do what they need to do and we'll just go back to normal and you can take off your mask and live your life and yada yada, then everyone just did it. But she went with the anger side and the bullying and coercion, which is wrong.
Yeah, there's so many levels and so many layers to it, brother? And like I say, you don't have to understand the other side of it. That's it. We all know our own version of the truth. We all preach our own version of the truth that's been handed to us. Depends on we can pick up the same story written by two different authors and see it completely differently as well. So it's the same type of thing. Everybody will have their own opinions based on the information they have or have been passed down. Make sure, if you are in a position of power where you have the ability to influence people, that you are sensible about how you articulate it. Some fine examples, not mentioning any names, Donald Trump, and how things can just go awry when the message gets mixed. And it opens itself up to the extreme element. Just need to be sensible. You do you, boo. You do you, boo, and the chips will fall where they may, which is kind of horrible. And that's why it sits really heavy with me, because you just want everybody to be okay, and you don't like the thought of potentially that because when things open up, will the likelihood of people coming in with COVID and infecting and community cases and all of that type of stuff, it's almost inevitable. Is almost inevitable that it's gonna brush past us and we can't do much about it. But I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family and friends. I'm in a position where I go into a gym where there are all sorts of people that are there for health reasons, to look after themselves, to be healthy. So the expectation would be that we would in fact have to take on that. I think it's only a matter of time. Healthcare workers are mandatory, right? By December, have to be vaccinated. People involved in the gyms, you'll see it a lot too, bro, with the gyms that you go in. And people will still wear masks for years to come. People have been wearing masks for decades anyway in polluted and highly populated areas in Asia specifically. So it did make sense to us, and it flipping makes a lot of sense now, although it's just difficult. It's just difficult. We all have rights. We all have opinions. Let's just push on and do what's best for everybody. And that's just,
Well, I think it's a good time, bro. I think for the people to possibly read the 4 agreements more than ever.
I checked in with it off.
I think it's. Oh, yeah, bro. I've just remembered what you've remembered now.
Yeah.
But I think it's a real good opportunity to reread. If you haven't already, read the 4 agreements and just have a little self-reflection on the way that people are carrying each other or themselves. And that's a really good book to sort of have a bit of a good review on.
Yeah, and the the fifth agreement too, like be skeptical but learn to listen, because you are listening. As we said, people's version of the truth, what they have been told, it's only what they know. It'll say a lot about them, more about them than it will about you. Just take the time to at least listen.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I think make no assumptions is massively, like what's the assumptions, and that's just not,
dude.
And to take things too personally, of course, which is what everyone's doing, is making this has been made extremely personal. Where number one, you do, like you said before, you do you. Shouldn't matter. You do you.
It's challenging. I think the 4 agreements are wonderful because it acts like, pump the brakes. You come in hot. We are emotionally charged. We are sensitive. People are losing their minds. People that I know in Auckland, especially through the gym, craving connection. They're connectors. So they're finding ways to do it, but not to a scale that was, that was 2-3 years ago. So it is challenging. So we are emotionally charged, hypersensitive to all of those things in conversations, and it doesn't take much to set someone off. So just pump the brakes, apply the pressure a little bit, and go in with those little things. 4 agreements, I'll recommend it to anyone, and then follow up with the 5th agreement, which has a reminder proviso of the other 4 agreements. A wonderful spiritual journey. Talk about mandatory. That should be mandatory.
That's a good one, bro, to be mandatory. You're right. And I saw a really good coach I admire on Instagram just today, and he goes, and he does this thing where he gets like an iPad and he writes his messages on it. You know how people are into that these days, and take photos of it. And it said, like, my biggest recommendation for coaches and anyone else to read right now, or values to live by, think, be impeccable with your word, think. And I was like, boy, of course, you know what's up. So it's all good, man.
It's amazing. So we go into, and obviously, peeps, we promote the deep and meaningful chats, conversations, and the conversations we have, and as you know, lead to other conversations, and then we rally up, like you and I rally up, and then our conversations start to grow and become rounded because of the conversations we are having, because we're sitting down, and also the responses in terms of asking questions. Why do you think like that? Why do you believe that? What's led you to that? Or who told you that? Where did you find that out from? In terms of resources and sources for information as well. And I've had a couple of absolutely amazing convos. The first with a great friend of mine, who's a doctor, one of the smartest guys I know. I met him a long time ago at a social event. Actually, just came together. Passionate cyclist. And you talk about he lived in Auckland, currently resides in Hamilton, but you talk about people that like soul friends, you term them soul friends, so even though you're not together, they're always in your train of thought. You always think about them. And I actually articulated that in a message, and then followed up with a phone call recently. I just said, bro, been thinking about you lately, because I had been. Hope you're well. Let's rally up and have a chat. And then we circled around. He is a listener of the podcast, which is amazing. So Brendan, kudos to you, my friend. Love you heaps. But the interesting thing that that we were talking about and rallying on about tall poppy syndrome, and also talking about the ego and fear of failure and the stress of failure. Now he's had exposure to high level performance in sport, and a really valid thing that we started to talk about is, when you attach your identity to a pursuit. So in sports in particular, and that's where the struggle is, and even in an analogy like the high school or the college jock, the quarterback that never loses it, that always wears the jacket, and that's him for the rest of his life because he can't see anything past that. And how anything outside of that, so when you become a sports person, everybody looks at you like that, and then you start to say, that's all I am. And so when it doesn't start to work out, and we see it at high performance, people really fucking struggle because they feel there's no way out. They forget about all the wonderful things, all the wonderful skills that get them to that point. You think of any a high-performing athlete across the board at any sport, the determination, the dedication, just the go forward, the resilience, the lack of fear, and in sometimes it's exactly the reverse, right? The ability to deal with massive amounts of fear and anxiety, and the balance and the confidence at times. Yeah, bro. So yeah, we went super deep on that, but and there's been some cases recently where athletes haven't been able to look past that, and unfortunately it has led to some horrific stories of athletes taking their own lives, which is a shame. But it's a message, I think, for everybody out there to it's a dangerous game to only think there's one dimension to you, that the title is everything that you are or aspire to be. It's one element of so many other wonderful things in your life. And that's what, I'd really urge people to do. If you feel yourself pigeonholed, and instructing is the same thing. Like, bro, we've talked about being a coach before. People just think you do that all the time. Like, you walk around with a whistle around your neck and a big t-shirt that said coach, and you get home and you go, wife, 2 potatoes, meat, stat, go. Tick, 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 tick. Kids, homework,
3, 2, 1, time.
Yeah. Go. Bed making, 2 minutes, and go. But
so true, bro. Yeah, so true.
But that's the great thing. I talk about instruction, and as you know, we get to take the whistle off or whatever. It's another element to our lives that enriches the rest of it. It's finding that balance and celebrating everything else. It's hard when you do it 24/7, when it's all you do. Yeah. But the successful ones are the ones that can just step out and appreciate all of the other stuff around.
Yeah, bro. I was just going to say, I experienced a bit of that. You're talking about from your whole identity and stuff, and like being over in Korea for so many years and doing what we were doing, and being really successful in many areas of it, and opening gyms and doing that sort of stuff, and then coming back to New Zealand and essentially being completely different. I mean, went to real estate for a little while, like trying to find, you're just like completely out of character almost, and people sort of look at you like, what are you doing here? Like, it almost, we used to joke that I was part of a relocation program, like for a witness protection unit, because it was like some random dude that was over somewhere else has now turned up in New Zealand, and no one really knows what I'm doing here, and neither do I. And I was the same thing. I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't even know what I am anymore. And so people would ask me, what do you do? And I'd be sort of real confused. I'm like, in my heart, I'd be like, oh, I'm a coach, or work in the fitness industry. But then at that point, I was kind of like, I'm doing real estate, or I'm kind of, and it was real strange, and I couldn't, and it was just so it was that whole attaching an identity to yourself, and that's who you are. It was quite a hard one to process, and start to figure out what actually matters and how to answer those sorts of things confidently. So that's why I just started coaching all the time in the morning, so I could still latch on to that identity almost, even though it was a lot of time, a lot of energy, maybe shit money overall, but it was just sort of that whole past life you're staying connected to. Like,
it's a difficult mold to break. To be able to break that and step outside of it is difficult, and I think that's why people hang on way longer than they should potentially. Boxers are probably a bad example, because they get paid a lot of money to get punched in the face, and they get hurt and end up with all sorts of issues. But anybody in the gym the same. If you don't have passion for it, if you're there just to be there rather than make a difference, and that's one thing that I will continue to coach. And we talked about it last week. A great coach creates coaches. A great leader creates leaders. That's really what we should be aspiring to do. And when you feel as though it's time, when is it? And it's ego that gets in the way of helping you make that decision. And I think that's the thing. Investing everything in your identity, it's a sign when you are having real difficulty stepping away from it, and you don't see anything outside of that, outside of that scope or outside of that shell that you've created. So treat it like I love the gym. In terms of longevity, I still feel like I'm just getting started. with a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. Grateful for opportunities that are upcoming for education and connecting people to the purpose. I love that shit, and it's just me, you know. You talk about Dharma, where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is it for me, and I don't see the end because I just live and breathe. I love it. Talk about living values of an organization. You know, I do it. I'm super passionate about it, and that's what keeps me going. It's not just I'm in it for the t-shirt or the kudos or to be on stage and in front of people, which is also difficult, right, to step away from when the lights dim. And even any singer would say, you know, what happens with the crowds? Right. That's why a lot of them struggled, right? I mean, COVID, no crowds, no concerts, no crowds, that gratification. They start to realize what's important, performing in front of people. It's super challenging. So just step in and appreciate the moments that you're creating and sharing, and be able to step out and likewise just embrace the same love and joy for everything that's around, every connection, every footstep that you take, every new challenge, every work opportunity, every meal, every second of every day. Just max it out. That's what I love about it. I'm high on the vibes, bro. You know that. I'm high on the vibes. And I even say to people, you know, I love a chat. We'll talk about that. You know, yeah, mate, yeah, fuck yeah, I love a chat. Can't shut the guy up. Do the measurement. D.M.C podcast, Adam, 3,952 words. Cody, 604.
Yeah.
I want to say,
hold on, does it do it? Remember the old hand? Oh, there you go. Look, you're going to raise your hand.
How do you do that?
But yeah,
there must be some little. There must be some little
cool sensors.
Yeah, bro.
It's awesome, bro. So,
yes.
What's the vibe? What's the vibe this week, mate? I mean, we are on a Sunday here. What's anything special coming up for the week ahead, man?
What is coming up? In terms of work, flat knacker full gas. In terms of everything, I can't. You know, sometimes it's because I do like to be organised and know what's coming up. It's a little bit of a grenade at the moment because there's a lot of elements that are happening all at once, which is fine. That's the great thing about having the routine about the gym. You know, I know those timelines are set, so I know I've got to be here at that time and I've got to be here at that time. I think I've just rounded off and stopped thinking about everything that's going on and just gone in with a mindset that regardless of what I'm presented with, I'm going to make the most of the opportunity I can to connect positively to those moments. And I just carry that rather than, because it can be, if you look at, like, bro, if you write a list down of the things you have to achieve, and I know you are super busy, it's like, holy shit, I've got to be here, I've got to be there, I've got to do this, you've got a stack of paperwork, you know, you've got all of these meetings that you have to achieve. But I just kind of go in with every opportunity that I have to make a positive, meaningful connection and impact. I'm all about it this week. So that's what's on for me this week, bro. What about yourself?
Yes, I mean, again, same as you. I'm really putting my mindset onto what I can control and do and make big impact on. Like I said, there are certain things I had to remove from my life that were not sort of, you know, things that just were taking up a lot of time. But not so much a lot of time in a good way, like a lot of time in putting your mindset into some weird vibes, like Facebook, for example, for me was just, I just kept skimming through pages and adding no value or learning or doing anything and just kind of, what am I doing here? So, to be honest, this is the first time I've ever deactivated my account, that it actually, you haven't missed it at all. I still have Messenger. So, cause all the people you want to connect with, you can, right?
Yeah.
And I still have Instagram, which I'm enjoying because it's a bit better, more of a cooler vibe. But even YouTube, even YouTube is, like you said, it directs this shit. I mean, anger and negativity is the fuel for everything. So it's loud and it's everywhere. And if people stopped feeding it, then no one would even go back to those sites ever again, and they would lose all their money. So you got to be real careful how much it feeds you. That's been really good for my mindset in the last couple of weeks. Fingers crossed for level changes, because we're standing by. Hopefully we'll be up in Hamilton, at least Hamilton next week. Wednesday, if that all goes to plan, but who really knows? And because so every week I will travel whenever I can and come back, and mate, I'm only 20 days, so I've got to start packing house and get on the road.
That's amazing, eh? Bro, the one thing too before we round off is I managed to catch up with Jace Tapatu, and there's an episode piece of if you haven't seen it, the episode with Jace Tapatu is amazing, incredible, emotional, thoughtful, connected, everything we would hope that the podcast would bring to light. We did it, but just amazing to see him and connect and talk on a deeper level, and to see that he's found his voice, because he did the same thing. He stepped away from social media, but then overwhelmingly there was people coming to him saying, hey, we missed the things you were saying. And it's those reality checks. We want to be as real as possible, right? Show the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the thing we discussed is exactly as I stated before, how the conversations lead into greater conversations, into greater connections, into more impactful moments, and more honest, insightful moments. And the one resounding thing is that, especially with reference to my daughter, talking about growing up, and I feel wholeheartedly that we are always growing up till the day that we leave this earth, this energy, and go into the next, whatever's next. For us, we are always growing. So growing up is a continual process. Don't just think that you get to the age of 21, you're going to get kicked out of the door and that's it for you. You're now a man or a woman and you have to fight. The mindset is just continue to take on challenges, continue to learn and grow, and develop. And life is a bumpy road, bro. Hey, it's a bumpy rocky road. But as we have stated, you will get to a time when, as Jason and I discussed, you have these full circle moments where you just suddenly arrive and go, okay, that was a shit time in my life. Bang, I understand it. I get it. That makes sense. That was a really negative person in my life. Bang, I get it. It makes sense. That was super. I was really hurt about this. Bang, now it makes sense. Why? And so just continue to navigate through life and be optimistic and positive and continue to grow and develop. We're always growing up. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. Live your life, chase your dreams, talk to your bro online. If you guys have something to say in terms of you want to put some content online, mate, Cody and I will be your biggest champions.
Do it. Shit, yes. Do it, man. Do it.
You got something to say it. Never be afraid to have a voice, as long as it's positive, uplifting, kind, caring. That's what we're about. Be about it.
Be about it. My man, legend. I know that you downed some eggs before we kicked off today. Well, I haven't downed any yet, and that is on my menu. You today, bro. I'm sitting like, damn, they look good, man.
Hold on, bro.
We turn this into a mukbang video. You know mukbang, eh?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, mate. That might get some viewers, mate.
As I look at my dishes, actually, I'm one of these people that eats and then needs to do dishes straight away. So I'm looking at that dish, typical Virgo going,
it's okay, man. All right, everybody. Well, brother, good to see you as always.
Always champion.
A lot of catch-ups this week, brother. And then, let's get into it. Enjoy your week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and just be cool till after school.
One tribe, changing the world. Look after each other. Be kind. We love you. Feedback, as always, like, subscribe, share with your mates. Keep chatting. You can do it. We love you. Peace. That's us.